Hello everybody, Railman28 here, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Railman28. Time to ring the bell. Thank you. Now, in today's show, we'll be talking about EWE Night To Remember. Now, I'm going to break this down, as Terence Thatcher would know I'll be breaking it down, and EWE knows I break this down a lot. So, here we go. First of which, Terence Thatcher is back in the ring. Thank God he's back in the ring. Maybe Buff Broadside think that Basham's getting too big for his gavel, no doubt. Possibility, yeah. Now, Terence is back in the ring, did the usual house rules for EWE. Do not get physically involved with the wrestlers. They are well-trained professionals. Do not try this at home, at school, or anywhere else. But you can be as vocal as you like, be as loud as you want, boo the bad guys, cheer the good guys, let them know how you feel, etc. There you go. Then, as we're about to start underway, then Buff's music kicks in. I am Buffalicious. That is good, you know. I mean, I like his original one. He's cheerful when he's a good guy, but he's a bad guy, so there you go. So Buff Broadside, Lewis Basham, Jay Morgan, the Prodigy, of course, the man who won't keep quiet. There you go. Keeps telling us all to shut up and everything else, but I refuse, because he thinks we're not relevant. Well, we are relevant, mate. There you go. And then when they got in the ring, Buff was heckled by Lewis Basham saying he wants a rematch for the UK title against Devious Danny, and he wants a rematch for the tag titles. But no, Buff was in his wrestling gear, and he says, "Oh, you did it before. What happened? You lost. You had the heavyweight championship. What happened? You lost. Before I was owner of the company. And what happened to Devious Danny for the UK title? You lost." And there you go. And then Basham tried to heckle Basham tried to heckle Buff and try to threaten Buff, the owner, because he took his jacket off, threatening to F5 him. But then Jay Morgan tried to step up to protect Buff Broadside, and what happened? Basham lifted him up and gave him an F5. Ho ho ho! I was hoping he would do that to Jay, demonstrating who the boss is, who the commissioner is. Now, that landed him in trouble. Oh yeah, his anger landed him in trouble. And Buff said, "Careful, I wouldn't do that if I were you." And Big Ben McDonald came stomping out, and he's a giant. He get over the top rope, and he, just like Andre the Giant does, Braun Strowman does. He reminds me of Braun Strowman, actually. Big Ben McDonald, yeah. He's a farmer, but he is definitely a giant, literally. Don't ever mess with a giant. Trust me, do not do that. And he wanted to give Basham a beat down, literally. So, Basham, here's a few tips for you, mate. Your anger will land you in serious trouble, and believe me, it just did. And what happened after Basham did that? He, couldn't get his own way. He attacked a member of the faction, threatened the owner, and, of course, probably attacked an official. That was no good. No. Because he kept putting his hands on the official, during his matches. Buff hasn't forgotten about that. Literally, he hasn't forgotten about that. No. And he did that during his match with Spectre. With Lincoln Spectre. And honestly, that landed him in serious trouble, and Basham got beat. And then after that, he was suspended for 30 days. Now, suspended for 30 days on the 28th of November. It's 23rd of November, sorry. 23rd of November he was suspended. So, 30 days from now, from then, the 23rd of December, a couple of days before Christmas, his suspension is lifted. That's 30 days. If my calculations are correct, at least. His suspension is lifted. Of course, even though they say, he will miss EWE Resolution, of course, which is like the Christmas party celebration at the Bedford. I don't think so somehow. EWE needs to get calculated, because during my calculated mind, 30 days from then, it's like a month. You give it a month from then, because if Basham is suspended for a month, he will be back on the 28th of December. But he won't be wrestling. I know he won't be wrestling. He will be the commissioner. That's it. He'll do his job as the commissioner, unless he'll be demoted, of course. That's the best punishment. He'll be demoted to commentator on the commentator's desk to be with Clive Jackson, the man he despises. And Basham will probably be like, I hate Buff now. The way he's supposed to do that. And then I wouldn't mind being on guest commentary with Basham, and I would say, Basham, your anger landed you in trouble, so you got to remember that. You got to watch your temper. Literally. That rage is a monster that will destroy you from the inside out, and Basham would know what I'm talking about. And I would suggest to Basham, come as a fan. Come as a fan, get a ticket, come to EWE Resolution or whatever you want to do. Sit down, have a drink, bring your kids if you want to bring your kids for a special treat for them to see what their father usually does in the ring. And by all means, I'm sure Basham will do that, and no doubt they'll call him back to the ring. He'll have his bags with him and he'll say, as luck will have it, I'll still have my wrestling gear with me. And then Buff will have to give him a match, of course. If he wins this match, he becomes the 5th man to be in, well, as much as Jacob, Danny and Roth, Project Mayhem, and they've got Taylor Walker there as well, the King of Peckham, as part of their tag team. And I would suggest Basham becomes the 5th man. As much as I want to become the 5th man, I'm not fully trained at wrestling yet. I'm going to start in the new year, like I said. I might go to Al Snow's Wrestling Academy, depends on what type of session they're going to have. And I'll try and see if I could be trained up to be a professional wrestler, which I will do. Al Snow's Wrestling Academy, maybe I might do that. But I did say I'm planning on to go to WAW in Norwich for training. That's what I love to do. WAW, and maybe train with them, compete in EWE as much as I can, and maybe BHW, UKPW I might do, to do training and maybe rehearsals of storylines, maybe, because I'm starting to understand professional wrestling now. But yeah, there you go. Basham, that's one of the matches I just mentioned. Basham versus Lincoln Spectre. Basham lost, and it's the first time. Well, it's not the first time that Basham's been beaten. He's been beaten many times, and he always loses his temper after he loses a match. Literally, goes into a tantrum. He reminds me of Triple H. Paul Levesque, Triple H. There you go. He reminds me of him when he was in his younger years, when he was a wrestler, and when he loses his temper. He always loses his temper. Quite a bit of a temper on Triple H, literally. There is quite a bit of a temper. And with Basham, that's the same temper. So that is like a British version of Triple H. So Basham, you're a British version of Triple H, mate. You are. You really are. And honestly, I love to see Basham become the owner of EWE. I love to see that, because I'll think Basham will challenge Buff for his ownership of the company, and then Basham will make sure everything is done properly. And since he's the commissioner, what I would like to do is be the ring announcer for that evening on the 28th of December, and that way I can ring announce for Basham, of course. I can ring announce for Buff Broadside, of course. I can ring announce for Terence Thatcher. I can ring announce for every single wrestler in that building, literally. I can do. I love to give it a try. So, even though Terence says I should ask Buff Broadside to do this, but I think I'll lay off until Basham gives me permission to do it. Of course, he's the commissioner. He can do whatever he wants. And unless it's done by Buff Broadside said so, because he's the owner of the company, technically. Yeah, he's the owner. Yeah. So that was at the beginning of the show. There was a tag team match for the EWE tag team titles. That was the first match of the evening. Big Ben McDonald and Buff Broadside versus Project Mayhem, and oh, what a match that was. Big Ben McDonald, he had it all. He's like a giant, and literally he kept falling down a few times because Jacob Sullivan and Devious Danny, the current tag team champions, they were like relentlessly going for him. They were just gunning for them, gunning like non-stop machine guns, like the Motor City machine guns. They acted like them. And I'm pleased that Jacob and Danny are tag teams. They're a tough tag team. They are. And then it had to end in a DQ because Buff and Big Ben knew they were going to lose, and they could not stand being humiliated when they're losing. And Buff's okay. I like Buff. Literally, I do like Buff. Literally, I like James Ember. I do know them. And I'm glad I get to know the wrestling guys. I'm becoming part of a wrestling family, which is really good. And I'm looking forward to being part of the wrestling world when I do enter the ring as Terry the Steam Train. But I'm going to call myself the War Wolf Terry the Steam Train, because every wrestler in EWE has a nickname. I'll be known as the War Wolf. I howl. Ow! That's my howling noise. And maybe Airwolf's howling noise. You never know, because that's because I nicknamed myself the War Wolf, because Airwolf, of course, I love that. And I love Steam Train, so Terry the Steam Train, the War Wolf, Terry the Steam Train is coming down those tracks. There you go. Brilliant name for me. Now, the next match, of course, was William Hudson Alexander Moore versus Don Fury. And what a match that was. I mean, Wham, William, still being his rude self. He's back to being a heel, of course. Not for long, he's not. And obviously, characters are due to change now because like, you can't have two heels facing each other for a championship, or you'll be having multiple boos, of course. That'll be the biggest botch. Now, a botch I did see with William and Don. With William and Don is when Don Fury went underneath him in the ring to try and get him to fall down from his legs. And then when Don was underneath him, William was supposed to go down, like go pump like that. But no, he just went, boom, like that. No, sorry, that was a botch. I picked it up. I've seen it. I've seen that botch. I mean, in the wrestling world, in professional wrestling, you're going to have, like, botches. Take WWE, for example. They have botches. AEW, they might have botches. There you go. When a certain person has to go down, and they didn't go down, of course. That was possibly one of the big botches. But the rest is fine. The rest is all good. Now, after that match, Don Fury picked up the win by tapping out Moore, tapping him out. He tapped out. There you go. More ammunition for Theodore Powers. Come to that in a minute. Who else was next? Yeah. Morgan's Corner. There you go. Morgan's Corner was up next. And obviously, this was like, how can I put it? This was interesting. Jay Morgan looked at me, kept telling me to shut up. Yeah, I know Jay, I know him very well, so out of character I know him, but in character you've got to be in character, you've got to play the part of being rude, etc. As a heel, he was a heel, top heel, actually. And Obviously, I liked the F5 Basham gave him, so I can tell Lewis Basham is now a babyface. He could be a babyface now, a good guy. So I'll be cheering for Basham I'll be chanting his name, literally chanting his name, Basham, 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 and then boom, he'll get the people behind him now, and he'll probably say, "About bloody time you've all started to cheer for me." And he'll say, "I really wanted you guys to cheer for me. This is my biggest present you've all given me." There you go. I mean, I hated him for the first time over the years, but then I started to realise about professional wrestling. But thanks to one person, Saraya Page, thanks to her, I've started to understand professional wrestling. It's all about telling stories. I understand from Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch. I've understand from them. Becky Lynch I'll get to later on. Now, after the match, a match began between Jacob Sullivan and, of course, the referee. Don't care what his name is. He was the crooked referee. Italian, maybe. There you go. He was wrestling for the Alsno Wrestling Academy Championship. That Jacob had a very long run as champion. For probably 3 years as champion. That is longer than Roman Reigns. That is much longer. Literally, Jacob Sullivan, the autistic wrestler who has autism, wrestles on the spectrum, has become the first autistic wrestler to become champion, possibly for 3 years. A 3-year long run as champion, ASWA champion. Well done, Jacob. Jacob, mate, you did it for us autistic people everywhere. You did it for all of us, mate. Literally, big shout out to you, mate. Keep going, mate. You need to get that title back so you can become a 2-time ASWA champion. Well, actually, a 3-time ASWA champion, actually. Because Danny won it temporarily for once, and then you have to win it back. There you go. 3 times. That will be a biggest thing that Jacob's ever done. So, Jacob, do make a statement and demand your rematch from Buff. Literally. And obviously, the special guest referee, Jay Morgan, he cheated. He cheated his way. He was a crooked referee. Just like the other referee. Very crooked. Both of them. Literally, very crooked. I can't believe that. Jacob, I seen it with my own eyes. It was 1, 2, then Jay went to say, he said 3, he's given up, ring the bell. That, I did not see that. Jacob kicked out. Just before Jay was about to hit 3, Jacob kicked out. He kicked out. I'm sorry. Jacob didn't deserve that. He was humiliated, just like that. Very humiliated. Oh, I could not stand that. Literally. I'm sorry. But doing that to an autistic person like Jacob, I'm sorry. That's disrespect on people with autism right there. Total disrespect. Sorry, but it is. So, yeah. Jacob, when you get back to EWE, I need you to do something. When you're in that ring, do a bit where you could actually target that crooked referee and kick him in the balls. Just kick him in the balls. Just be dirty. If he can fight dirty, if Jay Morgan can fight dirty, then how about this? Demand a match with Jay. I could see. In fact, EWE arranged that match for 28th of December. That's the first match of the evening. Jay Morgan, the Prodigy, versus Jacob Sullivan. There you go. And actually, have Lewis Basham as Jacob's manager. Literally, have Basham come to Jacob and say, "Look, mate, I know I've done bad things in the past, but how about this? If I manage you, will you be okay with it?" And obviously Jacob might say no, but obviously we forgive and forget. What's done in the past is done in the past. Put the differences aside and just get out there, work as a team, and there you go. And Jay, now I'll come to this in a moment when Basham had his match, of course. And yeah, I will come to that in a second. So Jacob lost the title to one of the EWE referees, who's now part of the Buff entourage. Obviously, we need more wrestlers to go up against the Buff entourage. Literally, we do. Fentos. I can see Fentos turning on the entourage right there. Turning on Jay Morgan. I can see that. Where Jay Morgan and Fentos are supposed to have a tag team match. And then I like to see Fentos saying, "You're no son of mine." Boom. Like that. And then you got another ally on your team. Yeah, the genius. Fentos. I love to do that. Fentos needs to do a babyface run. There you go. Now, when we come to like the match with Basham and Lincoln, what's his name? Yeah, what I just said him just now. Lincoln Spectre. Now, him and versus Basham, that was a good match. I love that match. It was a beautiful match. But how Spectre won that was by Jay Morgan. Jay Morgan came out and distracted Basham. Basham shouldn't have took his eye off the ball, which I have to admit that was part of his fault as well. He shouldn't have taken his eye off the ball. Basham was distracted by Jay. Obviously, Jay got Basham back for what he's done. Honestly, and then that's how Basham lost the match. Jay Morgan distracted Basham, and that's how Basham lost the match. Literally, I've seen that. I kind of felt sorry for Basham, because Karma is playing the part. Karma had its part to play in that. Now, Basham is at the receiving end of the Buff entourage. You become part of the entourage will use you, and when you're no longer useful, done. There you go. They just turn on you, just like that. Bang. They'll just turn on you. And Basham, you've been screwed, mate. You have been screwed. Literally been screwed by Jay and the entourage and Buff Broadside. Thinking that you're all friends with them. When in fact, I know who they are. They know who I am. We don't try to sell each other. But you were buying every single bit of it. Because one member of the entourage, of course, which you were part of, and of course, yeah, yeah, you were all about to turn on Buff when he was part of the entourage, of course. Then he took over as leader. Yeah. And then they turned on, yeah, you guys turned on Cuban Heat. Yeah, Cuban Heat was turned on. You turned on him because he betrayed everyone. Then, well, first to turn on the entourage was Cuban Heat. He turned on the entourage, and of course, William Hudson Alexander Moore turned on the entourage. There you go, turned on them. Exactly, that's how it's done. Yeah, so those are those matches. We had a 15-minute break, and then we had Devious Danny defending the UK Openweight Championship against David Bavara, the Slam King. The Maltese. It was the Slam King, David Bavara, and obviously David was way, way powerful than Danny. Danny tried everything to put him down. He almost had him, almost got him. But then David had other tricks up his sleeve. When you think he was down, he was against the rope, foot goes on the rope, and you're expecting the referee to miss that? No. Referee was doing his job and saw that, and David slammed the hell out of Danny, and Danny was like out of breath. I mean, that's what you get for like being beaten up after a DQ from your last victory. You won via DQ, and that's what you get. Beaten up. And you're worn out, and that's what the Buff entourage did. They waited till Project Mayhem was completely worn out, which they were, and targeted them individually. First, Jacob, he tried his best. Well, actually, Jacob had a lot in the tank. He had a lot in the tank. So I think Jacob deserves a title shot against David Bavara. That's who I think. He deserves a title shot against David Bavara for the UK Openweight Champion. It's time for Jacob to be champion once again. This time, the UK Openweight Champion is the best one of all. Or maybe the light heavyweight championship. Depends on Theodore Powers. Yeah. And speaking of Theodore Powers, after that after the David Bavara match. David is now your new UK Openweight champion. There you go. And the entourage came out to celebrate with him. And David Bavara was carried by Big Ben McDonald. Buff had a part to play. I know he had a part to play in all of this. He had a part to play. Next came to the main event, which is the EWE Light Heavyweight Championship. Theodore Powers versus Taylor Walker versus Alexander Roth. The Wolf of Broad Street, Alexander Roth. My good buddy. Now, the match got underway. And of course, and obviously, now, there's one thing that's bugging me, of course. One thing that's bugging me. Now, if you're being rude to bald-headed people, it's now sexual harassment. Now, since when did that come into play? I want to know about that, really, because since when did that become a thing now? So now, it's sexual harassment to bully bald-headed people. Unbelievable. Literally. I thought sticks and stones break my bones, names will never hurt me. Now our UK system is now using words just to make it law. If you say these things harmly, you get arrested for it? I don't think so. No. I'm sorry. No. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I just don't buy it. Doesn't matter if you use rude words or not. Literally, it's just sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Everyone's starting to get used to being name called now and just ignoring it. I've done it. Literally, I've just ignored it and not retaliated. And obviously, this new law just came into place. I don't know when it came in, but it sure did. Thanks to Natasha for pointing it out. Of course. Yeah, so the match got underway and the entourage had to come and interfere in that match. They had to come and interfere. And I knew when Buff Broadside came out, he was going to cause trouble. And literally, Buff Broadside, I don't know what he's doing to the company now for EWE, but he surely is causing a hell of a lot of trouble. Whenever there's a match going on, he comes out, causes trouble. Especially when it involves Alexander Roth and everyone else, Theodore Powers, and literally, they even kicked out Theodore Powers out the ring just to beat up Taylor Walker and Alexander Roth. What's all that about? So, and then Buff dragged the ref into the ring, and because Buff says, "My company, my rules, mate," he says. That's literally, I don't think that's a good way to run a company, to be honest. No. This match had stipulations in place, but now I've got to realise by now, during the triple threat matches, there is no disqualifications if it's a championship match with Theodore Powers. No disqualifications. I mean, I'm surprised Stan Powers or Bruno wasn't there, because they would have helped him out by using their wet floor signs against Taylor Walker and Alexander Roth. Alexander Roth did his best. He tried to win the title back, but no. He got screwed by the entourage yet again. Yet again, the entourage came out, beat him up, saying, "You will all serve us." Jesus, that is the worst kind of story I've ever seen. That is the worst story of all time. Literally, I'm sorry, but it is. Now we're going to count on a superhero to come take them all down. As much as I want to become the fifth man for Alexander Roth in January, I'm going to have to say no, because I'm not ready yet. I'm not wrestled yet. But I could be trained during that month to wrestle, just a little bit, so I could join that match for the main event on the 28th of January. That would have been nice to do that. That would have been the best first time ever wrestling training session in a live match for me. It would have been nice if I did that. And then I would be ruthless against the entourage. The first target I would go for is Jay Morgan. That's the first person I'd go for, and then boom, I'll just beat him up. Boom, 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 boom. brutalise him, twist his ankles here and there to make him like tap out as an elimination. They'll say Jay Morgan has been eliminated by submission. Tap, tap, tap. There you go. And then I'll tag someone else in. Boom. And then in comes Big Ben McDonald. He would come in, and obviously I don't want to be in the ring with him. Literally, I don't want to, because I wasn't prepared to wrestle giants yet. So, and obviously Big Ben will probably whisper in me and say, "It's alright, mate. You could beat me. It's okay. I know you can beat me. Just get me to tap out." He said, "I'll tap out." And then obviously I will definitely do that. They tag me back in, and I see Big Ben McDonald struggling on his feet. He's all tired out. I'll grab his big giant legs, and I just put him in a sharpshooter, and he goes, "Ah!" And then tap, 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 tap. Big Ben McDonald has been eliminated by submission. And then in comes Buff Broadside. Buff comes in, and he goes, "You, Terry Steam Train, have interfered in my company for the last time. Now you're going down." And Buff will probably body slam. He'll probably give me a running power slam. And then he'll try and pin me. 1, 2. I kick out. And he'll try and say, "Stay down." And I'll say, "Never." That's what I'll say. "Never." And there you go. So that's what I would do. If Buff tries to say stay down, I'd say no to that one. Exactly, I would say no. And then I'll tag in Alexander Roth. This is their fight, and they'll come in. And know that Theodore Powers will come out and try and take me off the apron, but then I'll get him back. Literally, just get Theodore Powers back, and I will do that. And yeah, by the end, so back to the match, main event. Theodore Powers for the Light Heavyweight Championship. He retained his title by the Entourage cheating, and he pinned Alexander Roth. Tried to get back in the ring. He wasn't be able to get there in time. And yeah, Theodore Powers is still your champion. Obviously they're saving it for William Hudson Alexander Moore, of course. But William needs to be a babyface again. He'll say, "I'm sorry, I will do my best, I will definitely tap out Theodore Powers." And Theodore Powers will tap out to the Light Heavyweight for the Light Heavyweight Championship. He'll tap out to William Hudson tap out to Wham, I should say, because William Hudson Alexander Moore is a bit of a mouthful. So Wham, I'll call him Wham. So Wham will tap out Theodore, and there you go, he's the new champion. And I probably have told the story already, so if you don't like spoilers, skip past to what I just said. And now, that was EWE Night to Remember, and what a night to remember it was. And I just remember Buff saying that both Arcadius and Damien were like suspended for attacking him. And there you go. Oh dear. Yeah, so we need something. Francis Drake, or whatever his name is, he's the new member of the Buff Entourage. It's time for a new faction to be formed, called the Project Mayhem Revolution. That'll be a big unit. In my view, it would be. Yeah. I can't wait to be in a professional wrestling ring, so big shout outs to EWE. Now, let's come to WWE now. Tonight is War Games! Yeah, War Games! Yeah, it's Survivor Series War Games, guys. Tonight on Netflix. Don't forget to tune in for that. It's now War Games. Now, let's gear up for the women's, shall we? Let's let the women go first, even though they're equal to us. So, the women's match. We're going to have the opposite side, the bad guys. Let's do the bad guys first. Let's go. Becky Lynch, the leader of this team, will be with Nia Jax. And, of course, Lash Legend, Asuka, Kairi Sane. They will be fighting. We got Charlotte Flair, and you got Rhea Ripley, and we got Io Sky, and we got Bliss. I'm gonna say Lexi Bliss, of course. I'll call her that, because if I say that magic word, it's going to trigger my Echo device. So yeah, we got that team, one tough team, and the leader of that team is AJ Lee, of course. Yeah, this is going to be one pretty big dog fight. And it's going to be a cat fight, no doubt, because I know for a fact Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, they got a few scores to settle, and believe me, I like to see Becky tap out to Charlotte Flair. She will tap out, and I know she will tap out of desperation. And at the end of Raw, Becky shouts out, "You're gonna wish you'd never been born." Oh, that's more like classic villain talk. There you go. Becky's a heel now, probably a good one at that as well. She's been a heel since she attacked Bayley, of course. Now, during the Survivor Series, I hope Rhea Ripley's team will win. Sorry, Becky, you're irrelevant to me now. I understand professional wrestling now, so I'm sorry, Becky. The way you've been recently, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to say no to you. No to your team. Your team's going to be a bunch of losers by the end of that match. Literally. I could be wrong, because us doubters always end up wrong. So it'll be, I hope Rhea Ripley's team win. I hope AJ Lee's team wins. And I know someone's going to interfere in that match in order for Rhea Ripley's team and AJ Lee's team to win. And AJ Lee said, "I'm going to make sure of it that we win." Oh yeah, I know something cooking. So I can smell what AJ Lee is cooking, literally. And it ain't lemonade. It ain't lemonade like Becky Lynch makes. No, it's not. Sorry. Now, for the men's, I'm not particularly interested in the men's ones, but I like Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Yeah, you got Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and you got the Usos, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Cody's channel. What do we want to talk about? I am subscribed to that channel, so yeah. Big shout out to Cody Rhodes' channel. Yeah, there you go. Now, coming to reality TV. Now, I'm not particularly interested in the more Survivor Series matches, but it's just the main War Games part I like. The War Games part. Yeah, I love that. There you go. War Games! There you go. Love that. Now, coming to, like, the match between Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella, part of the Bella team, of course. Nikki Bella is trying to face Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World title after turning on Stephanie Vaquer, which everyone told her that Nikki was going to turn on her, and probably Stephanie got the full end of the stick, knowing full well. And yeah, and I know there's a devil's kiss coming Nikki's way. There you go. Despite all recent events, I know Nikki Bella's going to lose that match. There you go. She's a Hall of Famer, still a champion in anyone's eyes. There you go. So big shout out to her and her sister for their channel, the Total Bellas, or the Brie and Nikki team. Yeah, there you go. Whatever they're called. Yeah. So we'd like to congratulate Maxine Dupree for being Intercontinental Champion, taking it from Becky Lynch. Now, Becky threatened to sue Raw, of course, sue Raw General Manager, which was Adam Pearce, for allowing AJ Lee to come out when it was AJ Lee that came out on her own. I mean, Adam had nothing to do with that, and she kept saying, "Oh, it was rigged. It was rigged for me to lose," and she tried to get hold of her lawyer, Dave, of course, and I just see her a clip where she goes, "That's why I'll give you the big bucks, Dave." There you go, that's her lawyer, Dave. Now, who has heard of a lawyer named Dave? I heard of a lawyer named Lewis Basham. Of course, Lewis could be Becky Lynch's lawyer, but he has to be a lawyer for her in the UK. But there you go. Hilarious, Becky Lynch's, but she's a good heel. I do like her. I'm a big fan of her, don't get me wrong, but I can be disappointed in her sometimes, like I said in previous podcast shows. I was disappointed in her, very disappointed, and I'm very cross with her a little bit, but I don't have to be. I can't stay angry for long, which I do forgive. I forgive Becky. I do forgive her. There you go. Even though she'd say, "Oh, you should never do that," she'd say, "Really? I do forgive you, Becky. I do forgive you. But saying these, like, nasty things is gonna land you in serious trouble. Especially, I like to know who writes your lines, Becky. Who writes your lines for you to spur out hatred? First Ozzy Osbourne, now you're gonna disrespect Hulk Hogan. Probably that was a line written by someone you know who hated Hulk Hogan. Literally. And I like to know who writes these lines of hatred. Pure hatred. Even though, yeah, I know it's their job. They do their job to entertain people. But going personal, I don't like. I'm sorry. I have to draw a line here. You have to not get personal with people, because otherwise it's going to cause something really, really bad. Or ratings might drop. There you go. WWE, you got to control your writers. Literally. You got to tell them, do not spur hatred on reality. Do not use reality for entertainment wrestling. Do not do that. I'm sorry. There you go. For characters. Now, I couldn't help but watch a clip of Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins having dinner with a host, with a podcaster, and he's doing it live for a podcast show. He was on, Becky Lynch and Seth were on the show. Becky pointed out, of course, that when her daughter was very upset, Rue, the lovely Rue, the cute girl we always see on TV, Rue, she has a TV spotlight, and Rue says to Becky, or she said to her dad one day, because her dad lost a match and he was angry, and they went back to their bus. Of course, they have their own bus that tours the United States. And Rue says, "Why do they say mama suck when she doesn't suck?" And Seth tries to explain to her it's all entertainment. Your mom's doing her job, sweetheart. She's doing her job. But she doesn't suck. Yeah. I don't blame Rue for asking Seth that. I don't blame her, because some kids don't understand professional wrestling now. Some kids don't. And I don't blame them for, like, thinking it's all real, when it is real when you're fighting in the ring. Yes, when you're wrestling in the ring. But you got to understand about entertainment part. It's the entertainment part that most people don't get. Thinking, oh, they're mean idiots, they're mean, they don't like us, they hate us, they always say never meet your heroes. Trust me, when you see a bad guy, which in reality they are very, very nice people, you got to give them space sometimes. If they're in a bad mood, there you go. I mean, I've experienced that with Lewis Basham, believe me. I've experienced that. Literally, I did experience that. I haven't met him in person yet. Well, I have seen him in person when he's in the ring, of course. He kept saying shut my mouth, etc. But I understand professional wrestling now. I understand it. Thanks to Saraya Paige. Thanks to her, I've understand it. She was the one that got me to understand it. And Becky is getting me to understand it as well. There you go. I like to thank them for doing this with me. For letting me understand this. Getting me into professional wrestling. I'm in my 30s and I'm getting close to the age of 34. And I'm entering professional wrestling as I speak. I will enter that ring and I know it's going to hurt. I know it's going to be brutal. But there's no turning back. It's my decision. I'm going to do it. So, yeah. There you go. Yeah, and Seth, what made me laugh was when Seth tried to do an Irish accent for Becky Lynch. We pirate gold, eh? Nice try, Seth. But that Irish accent, that was pretty good. But it needs a bit more slur. It needs a bit more slogan, if you know what I mean. It needs a bit more approach. It needs a bit more. I understand that now. So why are you going playing at doing an Irish accent like that? See, I can speak Irish because, one, I have Irish blood in me. I don't know if Colby, Seth, has Irish blood, but if he did, he'll be able to speak Irish like I do. Yeah, there you go. I have Irish blood in me. I can do an Irish accent like Becky does. Lads, literally, this is what we're talking about. And then, as Cody Rhodes would say, what do you want to talk about? What do we want to talk about? There you go. So, Cody, big shout out to you for doing all this stuff, interviewing Becky. Now, Becky understands professional wrestling, and she has done it before in Ireland, literally. And, yeah. And being Irish blood myself, I understand that. And I've been a big fan of Becky Lynch. I dreamt of meeting Becky Lynch, being in the ring with her as a tag partner. There you go. I wish I can meet her in person, which I will do. I met Saraya in person, which was really good. I got to know Saraya. I got to know her brother Zach Zodiac, Zachy Potato. Go get that Zachy Potato in Norwich, guys. It's really delicious. You really would love it. So I understand. I would like to see Midnight Raven go there and do a video with Zachy Potato. It was really... I like her to do that. And hopefully one day I'll be going back to the truck to maybe help Zachy Potato. I would love to help Zach out. To do it for his Zacketeers. I'm a Zacketeer now. I'm proud of it. So there you go. I love that. So that was Wrestling with Railman28. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, the way I broke things down. WWE Survivor Series is on tonight. Please tune in to Netflix to see that. You guys would love it. Trust me. It's going to be a blast. I'm only going to do the Survivor Series matches, the War Games matches. I'll probably do the women's first to get my reaction from it. See what I'll do. I might do one camera on me and one camera on the show. Even though I might get copyrighted, but I really want to like do my reactions with it. I don't know how the other YouTubers do it, but like Blondie, I like to Woodsy Blonde. I like to ask her for her advice about doing reaction videos on YouTube. I like to do that. And as for like my future of Wrestling with Railman28, I will be doing more podcasts, but I like to be on Saraya's podcast, Rule Breakers with Saraya. I love to do a Rule Breakers podcast with her. And of course I love to have Saraya on my show, which is Wrestling with Railman28, down here at the shed. I love to do down at the shed sort of thing. Shed bashes. I love to do a shed bash sometime, where I do a podcast like in an actual steam shed like Stuart's Lane. If I get a chance to do a podcast in there, that means I'll have to get all the necessary equipment for it, like some chairs to sit down and some microphones so I could do my show, camera on me so I could or maybe a settee, an old sofa where we sit down in the shed, clan lines behind us, and there you go. That would be fantastic to do a show in there. And I wouldn't mind if we ever did the clan line podcast, if we did our own podcast shows, like we interview several railway advocates and railway figureheads, if you know what I mean. But I like to do a show with Wrestling with Railman28 where I interview wrestlers. I like to do Zachy Potato. I like to do Zach, Ricky, Julia Harmer, which is Sweet Saraya Knight. WAW wrestlers, I love to do interviews with them. I love to do interviews with Bullet, of course. I like to do interviews with Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and also Stephanie McMahon has a YouTube channel as well. I love to do one with her, do an interview with her, she interviews me about my interest in trains and wrestling. And and I love to do interviews with Becky Lynch, Rebecca Quinn, Seth Rollins, Colby Lopez. I love to do interviews with him, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, Buddy Matthews. I love to do interviews with them. As many as I can think of. With Wrestling with Railman28, of course, and I love to give him a Wrestling with Railman28 badge, of course. I like to do badges if I get to run a business. do badges, like £1 per badge, of course. That would be nice if I got to do that. And get to do merchandise with Wrestling with Railman28, of course. Yeah. That would be a fantastic thing that I'm doing for professional wrestling. Doing podcasts about wrestling. I'd love that. Yeah, so, and I like to do interviews with AEW stars like Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter from Eastleigh, UK wrestlers I like to interview, of course. And maybe like Scottish superstars like Joe Hendry, I'll have to do that. Maybe Piper Niven, Kim, of course. Alba Fire, Kaylee Ray. Yeah, be fantastic to do interviews like that. And Becky, I'd love to do that one with Becky. That would be special if I did one with Becky. Special if I did it with Saraya. Yeah. So big shout outs to all of them. Natalia Neidhart, she's got a new book as well. The Last Heart Beating. That is a book I'm going to try and get. And hopefully read all types of books. Ronda Rousey's book as well I like to do. I like to do interview Ronda Rousey for Wrestling with Railman28 podcast. And I love to do Natalia, as I said, Becky, Saraya, anyone I can think of. And maybe I could do one with Lewis Basham as well, if he's up for doing a podcast with me. There you go. Thanks so much for listening, guys, to this Wrestling with Railman28 podcast. Hope you all enjoy it. And of course, I've got to do the usual. Ring that bell, please.